Olha o bicho, cara. Aí, não falei que ele ia falar, ó.
Okay, yesterday you told us you traveled, and I quote, thousands of light years to get here. Yes. Tell us the truth, or the Lord will never believe you. So I take it aliens took over our future, right? Sort of human. Okay, so you evolved from us. So what are you doing here now? How? Okay, so how about we concentrate on your time? Try me. Wait, so you know the meaning of point? What's the difference? So you know how the universe is created? So you've seen God? Okay, illuminate us. What happens when we die? Okay, so how was the universe created, and why is it so perfectly made for us? Okay, so why do we destroy ourselves with nuclear war? Can you be more specific, please? Okay, one last thing. What about morality? What do you base your morality on? I see. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
What we're seeing.
Alright, we're looking at the interview suite at S4. It's kept dark for the comfort of the aliens. The figure who is just barely visible in the left foreground is the telepath, and behind the camera is a raked seating area for observers. Although in this case, I believe the only other person present was a military aide. The alien is seated behind a glass partition in a biocontainment area, which is maintained at biosafety level 2, the lowest designation. That's primarily for the protection of the aliens, not us. The theory is that if they were going to infect us with an alien bug, it would have happened 50 years ago. In fact, all the indications are the aliens eliminated microbial and viral life from their own ecosystem long ago. They aren't susceptible to our diseases directly, but it has been shown that microbes can reproduce and form colonies within their respiratory systems, which tends to exacerbate the debilities they seem to suffer anyway in our environment. In fact, you can see here the alien is beginning to flag. The interview was not going well. The telepath was trying to clarify some points from a previous interview, but he wasn't receiving coherent responses. As you can see, the being is in real distress. At this point, the telepath is sending out a message to the medical staff. He's trying to communicate with the alien, but he's getting no response. There's very little he can do. There's no direct connection between his space and the biocontainment area. That's the aide stepping in on the right. The medical staff should be there by now. They're slow in responding. There they are. I have to say the medical personnel at S4 are less than first rate. They tend to be selected for their willingness to keep secrets rather than their medical competence. By the way, he's not shining that light into the eyes. It looks that way, but in fact he's checking for hemorrhaging around the eye sockets and in the nasal cavity. I'm sorry. It's very hard for me to watch this.
Control 266 level.
you say you're from the future and an evolutionary descendant of humans. You also say you're a different species. So, which one is it? Are you a descendant of humans or not? Then how do you know English? Answer me. If you don't answer, I'll administer another round of scopolamine until your system collapses. Do you understand? Now, how do you speak English? So you just picked up English, just like that. Because you're so smart, right? Right. So, you said you know the origin of the universe, but you did not provide an explanation. So I ask you again, how was the universe created? Answer the question. Really? But you can't create something out of nothing. Sure it is. Only a creator can make something from nothing. Wait, you just contradicted yourself. So, wait, but you said there's an origin to the universe. There it is. I caught you in a lie. This universe is not existence. It is infinitely small part of existence. Right, so now you're talking nonsense. Again, how was the universe created so miraculously? This universe is a spontaneous event. Inevitable within the eternity of existence. Every event can, will, and always end. Including this universe. There are an infinite number of universes. Virtually all carry a number so-called life. This universe is, by chance, stable. There is the occasional capacity to harbor so-called life. So, like just happened, right? This universe, yes. Life, the so-called inevitable consequence of this universe's physical properties. So are you telling me we're just random? Yes. This universe is indifferent to so-called life. How so? Life always and every world can be destroyed at any time by multitude of random events. Such as? What you want to supernova. So the universe doesn't care if we live or die. I don't believe that for a second. We're more than just random. So, if we're just random, then there's no meaning to the universe. So if there's no meaning in the universe, then what's the point of living? You just contradicted yourself again. No. You can't live a full life. You can't live a life at all. Do you think that meaning is somehow made up? So, what is meaning? Okay, moving on. You said we humans will die as a species. So, tell me, when does a nuclear war...
I decided to do a commentary on this particular footage here. Right here, I want you to take a look at this amazing piece of footage. Now, in my career of looking at this type of footage in the last 20 years, I have never seen footage of an alien that I deemed real or even suspected might be real. But this I deem absolutely real. I mean, look at the way the eye blinks. Look at this close-up footage. Look at the facial structure and the movement. It doesn't just stretch like skin. It also moves in a fluent motion, unlike CGI. And what you have to understand about that is the only way to duplicate this kind of fluent motion in CGI is to put you've probably seen an example of someone in the studio in a black suit with these little dots on their knuckles, and you'd have to have the dots on the eyelids of something blinking like this to track this movement. Otherwise, it would be completely robotic. like movement because you would have programmed it. This is completely, every bit of it is fluent motion, and that tells me what we're looking at is footage. I mean, I can absolutely tell you what we're looking at here is not CGI. I mean, you look across the forehead, there's way too much three-dimensional characteristics here. We're actually looking at footage film of a three-dimensional, I mean, character. There's just no way around what we're looking at here. And on top of that, to think that this is some kind of magnificent suit or anatomic doll is absolutely unbelievable. Look here, we got the hands. Like, look at, they move. I mean, look how long the thumb is. And again, this is footage. You can see the texture of the wall behind you. You can see the three dimensions. I mean, everything. I mean, look at the shadowing. Look at the shadowing. That, I mean, that's another thing. It's just every single shadow and line and lighting is just perfect. There's just, I have not seen CGI to this day that doesn't have to hide the camera. And you know what I mean? Even look at today's most modern fake alien videos on YouTube, and you'll see that when they use CGI to fake an alien, they only turn the camera at it for a couple seconds at best so that you can't sit here and analyze it. Right here we have a fully frontal view, no attempt to try to hide or disguise anything. The only attempt that I can find to try to disguise anything is the black and white seems to be a program. It seems that they took the color away and made it black and white. Maybe to disguise, maybe they didn't want us to know when. Obviously it's somebody controlling and leaking this kind of information. See the stain on the wall in the background? I mean, come on. And look at the three dimensions here around the head. This is fully frontal, three-dimensional. Look at the face. This thing is magnificent. The skin, the focus, that's the biggest thing that lets you know this isn't CGI. If I wanted to pull off a fake alien in CGI like this, I would blur it, motion blur it, so that you can't see that it's not CGI, because right here we can clearly see this is real. This is real. Now, of course, somebody who doesn't know anything about CGI would say, oh, that can be CGI. It's not. No, it can't be CGI. You can't take a frame from Avatar and make it black and white and make it look like it's real footage. You know? The movements aren't right. It doesn't work that way. You know, you can watch Avatar black and white all day long and you're still going to be able to pick out what's real and what's phony. You know, CGI has not gotten to the point where it will fool someone into thinking that something is completely realistic. If it had, our video games would be almost total virtual reality. And they're not. You know, I play the best video games sometimes, and, you know, they're great, but there's still that digital look. You can still kind of see cartoony look to even the best attempt at, you know, even when they copy a real image of someone and make it digital, it still doesn't look like, you know, a real image of someone. And making it black and white and blurring it isn't going to do that. That's evident by the other video of the blurry alien supposedly caught in Brazil. You know, that didn't fool anyone. That was ridiculous. But the thing is, I'm going to say that this is real. And I'm a fan of the show Face Off. Anyone familiar with Face Off knows that those guys are really elite costume anatomic, you know, builders, and they do this kind of stuff. But if you look, there's no stretchy eyelid blinking. Holy shit, come on people, look at this thing. I want you to take a look at something over here, by the neck, right under where you think his ear would be. There's this little shape there, almost would look like maybe your vein or the tendon. I want you to pay special close attention to just that general area as he turns his head and flexes, and I want you to look at how the skin and the shadowing stretches and move slightly. To do this as CGI, this would be the most magnificent piece of CGI known to man right now, because this piece of CGI would be the first in history to actually be so realistic that it could fool somebody into thinking that this is real. If this is CGI, I'm fooled, and this would be the first time that I would be glad to have a video game made out of this, because I could feel like I was in the game, and I would wonder why make it black and white, because they could put color. I probably will end up putting color into this thing, just to show you that color wouldn't. There'd be no reason to make it black and white. But I want you to pay attention to areas like this as this thing moves. Look at, if you look close enough at the right things, you will realize you are actually looking at a three-dimensional object, not a two-dimensional object trying to fool you into three-dimensional, how do you say it? It's an illusion. When you draw a three-dimensional box on, say, a chalkboard, it's not really three-dimensional, it's flat. You just draw it that way. And that's pretty similar to making 3D, image on a computer. It's not really a 3D image, there's no real skin stretching over, so, in order for that to happen, you'd have to do programming for each and every individual area where the shadowing has skin stretching over, and that's what I'm saying. You look at areas like this, how the shadowing moves across it, all those little details, and that's why I've zoomed in on some of this so that we can have some details here and look at some of these points that I'm bringing up about this footage. And basically, there is no debate. There is no debate. This is footage. So, if you want to debate this, you're going to have to try to claim that this is some kind of mask, and you're going to have to come up with, so-and-so made a mask that does this or does that. You're going to have to explain why every attempt to make a fake alien video does not hold a candle to this right here. This is what I believe part of the soft disclosure that's been taking place in the last 3-4 years. This came out in 2011, I believe, right before 2012, and I could be wrong. I think this could have come out in 2011-12, and I'll tell you what, somebody covered up some things, like they made it black and white. That flash is timed so you can tell it's software made to duplicate black and white, so they wanted you to think that this footage was older than it really is. It could be somebody who leaked it trying to hide their tracks. There could be a variety of reasons they would make it black and white to cover the age of it. But that's the thing, is at least we know making it black and white is possibly to cover the age. And it would, if it weren't for that one little slip of color in it. So I think we're seeing the first footage of an alien, and it makes sense to me because we have the skeletons anyway. The bottom line is, these people that won't believe this simply because of the subject matter are being very narrow-minded to the fact that we have bodies of these beings with DNA that says they are non-terrestrial, not linked to any primate. However, their mitochondrial DNA was human. Obviously, meaning they abducted females 900 years ago and impregnated it with their own kind. We're doing that today. The bottom line is it proves two things happened 900 years ago. One, there was genetic manipulation going on 900 years ago. And two, there were greys about 4 feet tall with big heads and big eyes abducting human females to offspring there to carry their offspring. That was reported in the last century. Thousands and thousands of people reported that very thing. And sure enough, we find skeletons. Now, we have this footage that looks real, and everybody's trying to say, well, it can't possibly be real. Why not? Obviously, these things have been flying around. Now, obviously, Roswell, they did crash and people saw them. So, obviously, there is footage of these things. This particular footage, I think, is quite amazing. And I think what's going on in this picture is you're seeing the alien sitting at a table solving, a jigsaw puzzle. Like they would do a monkey. You sit a monkey down and hand it a box with a clover and a triangle-shaped block, and they put it in the hole. He moves it. He looks down at the table. He moves his arms. He looks up. He looks back down. He looks up, and then he smiles. It looks to me like he's solving a puzzle really quick, and then he's looking back up at the people and smiling. And then the next shot is even more amazing, a fully frontal profile. This is obviously like a mug shot, except using footage. This is exactly what I would expect military to take as far as documentation of what a being looks like. This is incredible footage. This is not a hoax. This is a very serious piece of disclosure, and I think ufology needs to take this very seriously. And people need to quit saying that this is CGI without the credentials to say that that is CGI. Unless you can make this, then don't say it's CGI, and I can't make it. Now, I'll tell you, maybe Avatar, is beautiful and everything, but you're not going to be able to put black and white on Avatar and make me think that one piece of that is real. If you can, good luck. I have never once thought any CGI UFO or CGI alien was real. Ever. Never. Before I deem even a UFO photo real, it's got to have validated reports on MUFON, the reporting centers of eyewitnesses. The kind of research that I do, I'm going down to the volcano in Mexico that frequents UFOs on their government cameras to see if there's eyewitnesses to support these footage sightings. So I don't just believe in the stuff. I like to know things, and I have enough experience in CGI to know that this footage is not CGI at all. The blinks aren't CGI. The muscle tone and the skin stretching over that muscle is not CGI. This is real footage, and I can kind of tell what's going on. Of course, they have the alien sat down at a desk. He solves a puzzle, looks up like a smartass, and smiles at the guys. And the other, they're just showing the fully frontal. Obviously, the alien submitted to fully frontal documentary footage so they can disclose this to people. Not people like you and I, but probably people in charge of shit. Anyway, this needs to be real popular, and people need to start seeing this for what it is. And other people that don't have the right credentials need to stop commenting that this is CGI. And other people who aren't fans of the show Face Off, that don't know shit about, the best Hollywood mask making, need to quit saying this could be anatomics, because, look at what they can do today. They can't do this shit. Sorry.
a ranch foreman in western Montana had a habit of setting up hundreds of trail cams in the property where he works, mainly to catch photos of the local wildlife and sometimes even trespassers into the property. But one day he captured 3 night photos that baffled him. The first photo showed the blurry image of a humanoid figure with distinct legs, undefinable arms, and an oddly large head. The next 2 photos were pitch black, which was odd because the trail camera was working fine. Did the figure in the first video cause the camera to malfunction? Well, we don't really know.
2 unidentified men in black visited the hotel. The men in black terrified the hotel staff and were looking for Shane Sovar and the hotel security guard, who were luckily not there at the time. And when Shane Sovar reviewed the hotel security footage, he discovered that the camera had actually caught 2 men on tape. What we're about to watch is that footage.
No one's gonna die, are they?
No. Sovar reported that the witnesses described the men as tall with black suits, black hats, identical faces, extremely pale skin, no eyebrows, no eyelashes, and abnormally large eyes. A woman who spoke with the men claimed that she felt that the men knew what she was thinking. Is this video proof that the MIB exist? Or is this video simply an internet hoax? Fortunately, most cases of UFO or alien encounters come in the form of first-person accounts, and the MIB are no different. Do they exist? Are they from the government? Are they even human? Ultimately, it comes down to what you believe. Me personally,
videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs. For the first time, radar images recorded inside a Navy ship have confirmed the presence of several unknown objects that swarmed around the ship for hours. I-Team reporter George Knapp here with a story that broke today on Mystery Wire.
Thanks, Brian. Over the past 3 years or so, the public has been able to see several astounding images of what certainly qualify as UFOs during encounters with the U.S. Navy. There's no question that the Pentagon has censored data to go along with the photos and videos, but none of that information has been leaked or otherwise released. That is, until today.
For 2 long hours on the night of July 15, 2019, the crew of the USS Omaha detected on multiple sensor systems unknown objects that surrounded the ship as it moved through ocean waters west of San Diego. One of the objects, a self-illuminated sphere at least 6 feet in diameter, flew alongside the Omaha for an extended period and was observed through a thermal sensor in the ship's combat center. Filmmaker Jeremy Corbell released the Navy video weeks ago and says similar events were reported by 8 other Navy ships in the same area over 3 days.
Mark bearing and range.
There was numerous warships that are having similar appears to be coordinated interaction, and this whole series was within this kind of, I'd say, circumference of 100 miles, and there was up to 50 to 100 contacts.
In the last 3 years, the Pentagon has reluctantly confirmed the legitimacy of UFO images captured by Navy ships and air crews, including these photos taken off the coast of Virginia and the better-known videos, the so-called Tic Tac incident and the gimbal. But other than the images themselves, there's been no release of censored data to buttress these cases. There is now.
OD, if you can write a general lat long where we're at, and then the number of contacts you got, get the course and speed meters off them.
Over a period of hours, crew members on the USS Omaha, which is located in the center of this radar screen, monitored the approach of the unknown objects, as many as 14 at one point, all around the ship. 2 different radar systems watched the objects and estimated their speed.
Track 781 just sped up to 46 knots, 50 knots, closing in. Oh, actually 38 knots. Quite fast.
That one's pretty much perfectly 000 relative, right?
Yeah.
Corbell obtained the images from sources he declines to identify. The Pentagon's UAP task force considers the Omaha spheres to be true unknowns. The ships that were under observation by the unknowns were unable to track where they came from or where they disappeared to. The Omaha sphere appears to have vanished into the ocean.
What was splashed?
At that point, it also vanished from all sensors. In one video snippet, 9 of the objects were seen around the Omaha, but 2 of them dropped off, somehow invisible to 2 radar systems.
And it supports the hypothesis that these are not just a balloon dropping into the water, or it's not something that is easily explained. These are true unidentifieds in mass number, and we'll talk more about that, but that's what we're showing people, where you have radar data that goes with FLIR data, what everybody has been belly aching for. So here you go.
If these are foreign-made high-tech drones, how do they fly with no wings, rotors, or detectable exhaust? Do they possess some sort of cloaking ability? The sensor data, combined with the video images, raises difficult questions.
These are unidentified. We don't know what they are. Everybody tries to corner me in saying they're aliens or something like this. I have no idea.
Maintain track as best you can.
George Knapp, 8 News Now.
The video of the radar screens consists of 4 clips that were spliced together to show that this went on over a period of time. Today, less than 4 hours after that video was made public by us, a Pentagon spokesperson confirmed it is legit, that it was recorded by Navy personnel and is in the hands of the UAP Task Force. That's the unit created to prepare a report for Congress that is due next month.
A French-speaking family is on an outing enjoying a cloudless day when they notice something in the sky and start recording. A bizarre object rotates slowly, seeming to shine bright red and green lights as it turns. We push in and stabilize the image to get a better look. As the image comes into focus, you don't have to speak French to grasp the family's astonishment.
On le voit?
And check this out. At moments, it looks like this thing is flaming, something we've never seen before. Is it a craft burning off fuel as it ascends into space? Whatever this thing is, it's not making any noise, and it's not clear how it stays aloft.
The object is quite curious to me because it seems to have no visible means of propulsion, maybe even exhibiting anti-gravity properties. It's sort of just suspended in air and for a period of time. So this very well could be something not of this world.
It's rotating. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
UFO Report Center?
Yeah, I got a doozy for you.
Okay.
Gonna put me into the hospital, I tell you that.
What happened?
I'm a truck driver. I had a load to Salt Lake City from Banning. I pulled over. I got out of the truck, kind of stretched. I looked up at the stars, and I saw these quite a few of them that were kind of low, and they were like flickering. You know, what could they be? And then it occurred to me, maybe I'm seeing a UFO.
Portland Air Traffic Control Tower, Portland.
Yes, sir.
I guess I have a UFO report. What they drew, these 4 people pretty much agreed that actually what they drew, it looked like a fedora hat.
I saw something spectacular in the sky last night that I have no explanation for. In fact, I'm sure as many as 50 to 100 people saw it in different areas last night. I'm sure it had as many as 20 pulsating red lights. One white light
it was about
in the front of it.
100 feet from me. To me, it looked about like something, like I said, right before, I remember seeing it, but after that, it just, I don't exactly remember too much.
And I could see this very bright red light, and then it would change to a kind of a blue light, and reflecting off the clouds.
Yes.
And I could also hear this very loud buzzing noise.
My daughter is 7 years old, and she said it was in the shape of a square. She said she's seen 4 red lights in the corner and a white one in the middle.
We had an aircraft at 35,000 feet westbound. They reported sighting 4 objects. 3 of them were at his altitude, and 1 of them was a lot lower.
And we observed an unknown phenomenon this morning, about 1600 Zulu. And we observed it for about 10 to 15 minutes. The targets were approximately 200 miles west of San Francisco over the water. They flew in what appeared to be unison, approximately 90 miles apart. Their speed was in excess of 2,000 knots. They did a high-speed run for about 75 miles, made a very abrupt slowdown, and then a 180-degree turn and tracked back northbound in excess of 2,000
fire engine,
knots.
red lights, Kelly green lights, orange lights. It would shut all them lights down and turn it bright white. It was zigzagging in and out. It was shooting from one side of the sky to the other side. It was almost as if it was rolling.
After 8 to 12 seconds of this boiling, he saw an object come up out of the water and go straight up into the air. It was a circular-colored, circular-shaped object.
I'll give you a brief on it. I was dispatched on a UFO sighting. When I arrived, what I saw was a real large craft in the air, circular. I would say it was at least 25 yards wide, or in diameter actually would be. And it was hovering over a house. It was motionless. They're real bright like a star, and when it gets closer to you, it gets dimmer. And then when it lands, it glows into a big orange, kind of like looking at the sun or something. And then when the light goes out, it's like you turn down a kerosene
What exactly lamp. happened was it was myself and a friend were flying. I'm a commercial pilot.
Yes.
And I saw this object, and it wasn't bright like a light. It was shiny like polished aluminum or polished metal.
It was like a point source that was emanating several shafts of black light. It was like negative light. There's got to be several hundred people that saw it.
We had an aircraft that sighted a UFO. The pilot reported an object passed approximately 1/8 of a mile in front of the aircraft. It was described as being box-shaped.
And as soon as I pulled over, this object came straight at us, straight to our vehicle. It was huge. This thing was huge. It was black, huge. It had these triangle lights on it.
I've never been a believer of UFOs in my entire life, and I just seen a minimum of 9 this morning with my own eyes, and I mean, I'm a believer. The one orange and at least 9 of the bright moving lights.
By it, and I was just staring at it, stopped in my vehicle, and it started to move. And it had lights down each side of it, like a triangle.
Yes.
And then next thing I know, I didn't take my eyes off the damn thing. It was gone.
My little brother, he's 3, he'll be 4 next month. Last night he started talking to my parents, and I just got done talking with him. He told my dad, you have to lock the door because the creatures are going to come get me. And he said the men in the stars, he said they're coming to get me. They follow him. When he goes outside, he says the star follows me. The star follows me.
You'd have to experience this in order to believe me. I'm afraid to walk outside. I need help. I don't know how to deal with this. It's so strange. I'm frightened to go to sleep. What if they come back?